7:02. Hello, James.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. This is the first Monday in November.
Yay!
Happy
So,
fall.
welcome. If you have so for the last 2 months, we were talking to quite a few people about speaking on Monday night. So, if you have something you want to talk about, or if you know someone you'd like to recommend, some of the things we have planned, of course, tonight is Jeremy and the Kickstarter. And one of the reasons that I knew I always wanted you to come do it, Jeremy, but it became like now because Rox and Charles are planning to do one.
Right.
And so I was giving them some suggestions based on what I know about yours. And I'm like, and I told her to connect with you. And she said she interviewed you for the author marketing thing.
Correct.
So anyway, so she still may want to reach out to you, but
So she did. She reached out. I'll address one of her questions because I think it's an important question in the conversation. So.
Okay, sounds great. Now, so Jeremy's going to be our speaker for tonight. So before we go to turn it over to Jeremy, how much time do you need, Jeremy? You need the.
Oh, I don't need any. This is going to be casual dialogue. Between us. Whoa,
Okay.
wow. I don't know where I'm hearing the echo from. But I am. So I'm going to give you some information. I'm going to give you general information about crowdfunding. Then I'm going to give you specifics about Kickstarter and things to know and things to have in your mind as you're doing something like this. Things that I learned in the process for when I do book 2 that are definites. Give you some tips and tricks for how to do your awards in fun, cool, awesome ways. Then I'm going to open it up and you guys can answer a bunch of questions. I'm going to answer the questions that Rox had because I think they were good questions. And I'm going to talk to you about why I used it as a tool. That's a big thing.
And here she comes joining us now. So,
yes.
Good.
She said she was going to try to be here.
And so for announcements, let's start first with announcements for this week. Julie, why don't you give us your announcements for the week?
Okay, well, it's my big week finally. Wednesday night, I'm at Rice University. Friends of Foundry Library is the featured speaker in their Meet the Author series, and I found out today there's about 240 people signed up for it.
Oh, my
Unbelievable.
God.
But of course, only half or less will actually sign in. The Friends of Fondren is giving away copies of my book, so there's a chance to win a copy of the book.
Will you be able to sell your book also?
No, I mean, I can send them to my website, but this is all virtual.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Then that's Wednesday night. Thursday night, I'm on Lydia and CJ's launch. And then Friday night with you, Sandy, and Amy, and Zach, and Greg, and maybe my narrator, that's not confirmed yet, will doing the launch of my audiobook. So I'm speaking 3 nights in a row, and I had a program today already. So it's just been a
busy week. Busy week. So one of the things for so this is Julie's audiobook. We've had Greg on when he did his audiobook. We're going to have Lydia when she finishes hers. And one of the things we're going to have, one of the people we're going to have speak on Monday night, next Monday, will be Alicia Richardson, who's with me on the board of the Houston Writers Guild. And she does everything herself. She's a very, very, very much of a do-it-yourselfer. So she did her own audiobooks. She has like 17 or 18 books, and she's got one series done. She spoke last Saturday at our Indie Palooza, and her presentation, if you're ever interested in doing your own audiobooks, she had it nailed down to a science. It was very interesting to me. And I know a lot of people don't want anyone to, they don't want to do it yourself. A lot of you don't. So, so we're going to have her speak next Monday. Other speakers, we have Fern is going to have her. She uses 4 or 5 illustrators for her children's books and other books. She's going to have a panel on a Monday night with illustrators. So if you know an illustrator, or you know someone that's interested in being an illustrator, or you're interested in illustrating with your books, I need an illustrator. This is going to be a lot of knowledge on how to know which one. Lydia is in love with her illustrator. She's got a person that did great. She's got that behind her with her cats, magic cats. And so, and then I think CJ has a different one for her book, right? Lydia, was hers
Yeah,
different?
she actually found him through Fiverr.
Oh,
So you can find good illustrators on Fiverr.
you can. A
Mhm.
lot, as a matter of fact, a lot of them are illustrators or some kind of graphic designers. You just have to, of course, as always, be careful. And one of the things you have to be careful of is you could end up paying more on Fiverr than if you just hired somebody outright, because they want to charge more for each little addition that they add. So I have ended up paying almost twice as much to send a press release out without even realizing it. So I'm learning to be more careful with that. So that will be 1 month. We don't even have all the dates yet, except for next Monday night will be Alicia. And Amy is working with Fern to get the dates set for the ones she's going to have on. And then if you have someone you want to talk about a specific topic, let us know. Lots of good stuff coming up. We're trying to fill the calendar for the rest of 2020. So, okay. So any other announcements? Amy, anything else I'm forgetting?
No, you're good.
Okay, then I'm going to welcome Rox. I see you're there. I can't see you, but I see your name and I know you're there. So thank you for joining us. Red, it's good to see you. Red's got a new backdrop there with all the books and stuff. So I love that. Janice, I said hi a minute ago, but it's very good to see you. We haven't seen you for a while. And there's Tarina. Hi, Tarina. Good to see you. James and Athena, of course, it's always great to see them. So, and David, whose nerves are calmed down quite a bit. By the way, we had a great time on David's book launch last week, and his numbers in the sorcery division and in the dark fantasy, his numbers went from in the thousands to like 32 and 42, something like that. It was really great numbers, considering how many millions of books there are on Kindle. And Julie, I did want to tell you, sorry you couldn't make it to the party Friday night. It was nice that you sent your evil sister, but I'm sorry you couldn't make it. So we had fun with your sister, though. Tell her thanks for coming, and every now and then you'll have to stay home and let her come in your place. So that was fun.
Well, you know, green is her color, but it's not my color.
Okay.
So.
And honestly, John Ford, one of his costume was honestly I couldn't tell where his costume ended and his backdrop began. It was just really done very well. Athena and James looked wonderful in theirs. So, and David, of course, looked great, and his illustrator, the person that did the book cover, looked great. They kind of matched the wall in David's game room. That was really good. So it was great to see all the people, hear all the people, and we had a lot of fun and a lot of prizes given out. So the next one will be this Friday, and that will be Julie's audiobook. So is it 7 o'clock, Julie?
6.
6, okay.
That's the time y'all gave me. I mean, I didn't set the time.
Okay, I just haven't looked. So I'll go check, but that will be this Friday at 6 o'clock then. So, okay. I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy. Most of you know that Jeremy's my buddy. He has been for a while. And so Jeremy, I miss you anytime you're not on, because you always add so much. I've never seen anybody in my life like Jeremy, that whatever he's learning, he just becomes it. I had, in the program where we're both certified, Live at Choice, I had been a member of this group for 5 years at least. I don't even remember how many years. And I had so much difficulty with some of the things that were taught and the courses we had. And Jeremy would just he started up way after I did it. He just walked right in and just became everything that was taught. And that was like so amazing to watch him and to see how his life just transformed. And in doing that, to see how many other people became part of it as well. So Jeremy, you've always been a blessing to me. If I could go back and do one thing, I've saved all the videos from my training with Jeremy, and I will always go back and watch those on a regular basis just to remind myself to be present. That's the number one thing I learned. Just be present, be here,
Be
be
here,
aware.
right here, right now.
Right here, right now. So, Jeremy, you are up.
Thank you. Well, I get to be right here, right now with all y'all, and we'll have a little bit of a mindset conversation based on what Sandy said. We're going to do one of these truly just on mindset. I did a little bit. I threw in some stuff last time we were talking, but we'll do a full one on mindset for y'all that'll, I believe, would be greatly beneficial. Because everything starts right here, right? All of these wonderful books and incredible stories that we've told, some of us for years, all of this writing that we've done, all of the process of publication, it's only happening in one place. It's not happening out there, it's happening right here. So yay. So if we get this all nice and neat and clean and it I don't mean that it's dirty, it's just, or that it's messed up. It's great. It's perfect the way it is. It's just sometimes we don't see it that way. That's what's awesome. So Sandy said something that I think is key. When I step into anything that I'm doing, I be that which I'm doing. So right now I am being author. I am being instructor. I am being guide. I am being Kickstarter. So if you're going to do Kickstarter, come into it with, I'm going to be that which is Kickstarter. What that's going to do for you is let go of any resistance to the stuff that might feel normally to you kind of yucky. Okay, crowdfunding. Yeah, what do you mean asking people for money? This is my project. I don't want to ask people. I don't want to be begging people for money. I don't want to be putting myself out there in that way. That's kind of feels funky. If you be that which is Kickstarter, which is a platform to crowdfund, people go there because they're interested in projects. They're interested in promoting products like yours, like mine, like anyone's out there, from gadgets to books like we're talking about, to games. And games are huge right now. However, there is a big push for novels that are being done on Kickstarter. And there's a lot of success coming from those. In fact, some of the well-known authors that are out there did specific projects, and they used Kickstarter in order to fund those projects, and they pulled in millions. People have pulled in millions upon millions upon millions in Kickstarter, and there's no promise or guarantee that I'm saying associated with that. However, it can be an amazing way to do a few things. There's an amazing way to crowdfund. So who needs an explanation on what a crowdfunding platform is? Are we all clear what a crowdfunding platform is? Okay, we're good. So the Kickstarter is not the only one. Indiegogo, GoFundMe. There's lots of crowdfunding platforms out there, and they're all designed to do the same thing, which is to put together some sort of, hey, I'm looking for money from y'all, whoever y'all is, to support this thing. So sometimes you've seen it all the way from a person who's in the last portion of cancer treatment, and they're needing additional funding to finish something as serious as that in their lives, all the way to something like mine, which was to put together a book, which is a game, right? So for you guys, I'm guessing who would be I'm guessing you would be doing it for books, yes, to put out a book. Yeah, okay. So if we do this, and we're going to frame this whole conversation around doing this for your book. So we know that as independent authors, that there is cost associated with it. So a lot of us are doing this number, right? For all the costs associated with our books. We're pulling it out of wherever we work. By the way, Julie, you just look so nice tonight. I was going to say, you're just all dressed. Looks with this little owl amulet thing going on. Your hair is looking all good. Dang.
You should have seen her Friday night. She looked beautiful. I mean, her
snappy.
sister.
Tarina looks beautiful too. She always looks beautiful though. Okay, So we're doing this, right? Whatever our day job is funding this dream called I want to be an author. Yeah? Am I right by saying this, or am I not accurate? Yeah, okay, great. So what crowdfunding can do, the opportunity in crowdfunding, is to pull money from other people who buy into this idea or this concept that you have, in this case, a book. So with Athena and James, they're small press. So either you're going to go with small press, and Athena and James are the ones doing this number for you for a lot of things, right? Or you're going to the big five, something crazy like that. Or you're doing it on your own if you're an independent publisher, and then you can use a platform like Kickstarter or another crowdfunding platform to pull in the money to pay for things like examples, editors, right? We've had a lot. Fern has done a lot of conversation for us around the editing process, and we can have several processes within the editing process. And we know that if we're hiring editors, sometimes that's not cheap, even a little. I know for me, I have dished out and it's funny. In my mind, I had it that the dev editor was going to be this price, and that the copy editor was going to be this price. And in my case, the dev editor was like this, and the copy editor was like this in the end, because that's not my forte. You know, I'm not a grammar Nazi. And so I love telling stories. And so my dev editor was fantastic, and we got the story portion out like this, and then the copy editor had to do a whole lot of work to make it presentable for y'all to read and for people to read. And so I encourage you, number one, to do that. Number two, though, where does the money from that come from? Well, it comes out of pocket unless you're doing something like this, like crowdfunding. So it can be a resource for that. Sandy, you said something here. Kickstarter, also a Kickstarter for publishing. Yes, correct. The publishing costs, printing costs, all the costs associated with what the publisher would normally do for you. We're taking on all of that when we're independent, or small press is doing a portion of it. But likely, even still with small press, you're doing a part of it. Now, I don't know how all small press works, so Athena and James could probably speak to this, if they would allow their individuals to also do Kickstarters as well as use their small press and use their name. So for example, I'm going to use me as the example. So I will have all of my print on demand done through DriveThruRPG. They're kind of the Amazon of role-playing games. So I got to put their name within the Kickstarter. So people know who DriveThruRPG is. They're aware of what a great company that they are, and they produce a lot of role-playing games. So me being able to say, hey, DriveThruRPG, and hey, Indie Press Revolution, and hey, the third one that's eluding me, the name of them. These three people who have great names out there are also backing, meaning they're going to be the ones that are going to distribute. The third one is the distributor, and that's the one I'm not thinking of. Oh, Studio 5. Studio 5 is going to do the distribution. So if you've outlined who's going to do it, so in the case of Athena and James, putting their publishing company's name, Inklings, or whoever else you're going to use, name on that is a way to get attention to it, because they're going to also promote it too, because it's a way for them to get possible clients. Regardless, though, however you're doing the crowdfunding, there's a whole other aspect to this that I really want to make the point of. I'll just say this. I did not need any money to create my book. I could have done it all out of pocket. Not a problem. So why did I do Kickstarter, do you think? Why would I do Kickstarter if I didn't need money? Oh yeah, Audible Talent. So we'll talk about what the things that you're going to use here in a second, because you can do tier stuff. But that's a good point. I'm going to hang on to that. So why do you think that I would have done? Why did I do crowdfunding then, if I didn't need money?
For the publicity.
Yes. Thank you, James.
Marketing.
Marketing. It was nothing more and nothing less than a marketing tactic. There is a lot of attention on role-playing games in Kickstarter right now. There's a lot of attention on novels in Kickstarter right now. People are going to Kickstarter looking for those things. And so if they're going there and looking and your thing is on there, it doesn't matter. You can put however many thousands of dollars you want on there. I just picked a fairly random number based on a few criteria, because I didn't want it to be so overloaded that I was not going to get it. And we'll talk about the rules of Kickstarter in a second. But I also didn't want to make it so menial that people didn't think it was that big of a deal, right? So I put it at something that I thought was appropriate, that I was pretty sure that I was going to be able to get, and I exceeded it by several thousand. So if you're just doing it for the marketing aspect, then just pick a good number. Now, some of you may be actually doing it for the financial aspect of it, and there's nothing good, bad, right, or wrong about either. But just know that it is a huge way to market your book, because you build a community that is, they're putting their money into this to make this happen. So they've already bought into the idea. They're already in it with you. They're already the rah-rahers. They're already telling their friends about it. Yeah, I just backed this book, and it's about this, that, and the other way. I think it's a pretty good idea. It's going to be coming out. He's doing something unique with it. She's doing something special with this aspect of it. I'm just going to throw this out there in this part of the conversation. The thing that will set you apart in Kickstarter is so it can just be a book, and there's nothing bad or wrong about that. However, I'm going to use this word, but you're going to make it mean what you make it mean, but just hear it for what it is. What's the gimmick? What is the thing that makes people go, oh, well, that's different. Well, that's new. And I'm not saying you have to have a gimmick, but having something that sets it apart, having something unique that you're doing that other people are not doing in your genre, even if it's a twist part of the story. Hey, I want to tell, I'll use David for the example. Yes, a unique aspect is key, Rox. I'm gonna tell a I'm gonna tell a fantasy story. I'm gonna tell you a fantasy story about a wizard apprentice. Well, I've read a dime a dozen sorcerer's apprentice fairy tale stories. I've read a ton of them. Get this though, he's learning the dark arts. He's learning to be a necromancer. He's learning to commune with the dead. This is the thing that he's doing, and he's really. I haven't read the book yet, but I'm just making stuff up. It doesn't matter, but I'm playing with the gimmick, and this is like not his forte. He's uncomfortable with it, so he's going through his journey of, oh God, I mean, I have to touch bones and livers and the weird things that I have to do to commune with this dark. So now it's gone from the Sorcerer's Apprentice story that we all know to, oh well, what's this? Oh, this is different. What's this guy got going on? On top of that, you bust something visual. So you had a great cover artist do your cover. Now, if that's right there on there, oh, okay, now this is really interesting because this looks like a really young guy. So he's going to be really out of his element doing this whole thing, and especially trying to go with the dark arts. And the title, a little expansion on the title to go, why is there a lament for him? Why is this a lamentation? What about this? What about his past? What about has made this so almost a suffering for him? If it's lamentation, right? Where he's like, what is that for him? Well, and give the little zinger to go, yeah, this is the idea about that, and you get to read the rest. Well, gosh, now I got to know. Now, why is this guy lamenting? Who's this young guy? Why is he wanting to learn the dark arts? And why is he lamenting about it? I got to find out this. I mean, that was, as David described it, that was the reason I was dying to read the book. So I mean, and his is an example, but just think about those terms in terms of your book. When you're talking about red, when you're talking about how-to books, this is great. Remember that give the cool stuff away for free. Give them enough of the how-to, and then leave them wanting more so that they're going to go pull out the wallet and pay for something. That's your key. Kickstarter will walk you through all of this. So I won't even have to talk to you a whole lot about the process of Kickstarter, because as soon as you get on and as soon as you start it, they've been doing this for a long time now. They've had a lot of success. They've done millions upon millions of dollars of crowdfunding in this. So process-wise, don't even worry about it. They got video tutorials. They got so much stuff coming at you that you don't even need to question the parts of the process, nor do I need to go into detail explaining them. Unless you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. They're going to take you step by step and give you a ton of hints and ideas and little things to add to your stuff. So how it works with Kickstarter is two ways. So you're going to create a page for whatever you're doing. The page is going to be what the cover is for whatever you're trying to kickstart, right? And you got to have a real nice image. Then you have a video. Videos are great. What I would do, my suggestion would be, and I'm going to do this for mine, I chose to do a video of me. Now, you can do a video of you too if you're charismatic and you feel like you're great on camera and you can have this awesome conversation about stuff and you can really get people riled up and get them inspired to be really interested and you feel like you can do that. Great. Sometimes a personal video is really good. What's really become popular, and I was looking at the role-playing games that were getting a shit ton of funding, and I got great funding, but I didn't get a shit ton of funding that I was looking for. Or not that I was looking for, but would have been nice because then you're getting more followers. And right, it's about building community because that was my purpose for doing it. Is that they got somebody who was good with Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects, and all they did. So I'll use David again as the example. All you would have to do is give them the book cover, somebody who's good with Premiere, somebody who's great with After Effects, and they'll do this movie, and you just get to narrate the thing. In a world, you know, we've heard these for every trailer that's out. In a world where young apprentices are learning their craft, right? And so you do the whatever voiceover you're doing for it, and then you have the visual of it, and then the light comes up over the young guy because you already have the illustration done for the cover of the book. Great. So just use a moving graphic that's using After Effects. People get pulled in by that stuff like right away. It feels like they're watching a movie trailer for the thing. But get somebody good. As I'm saying this stuff, it's easy to just get some cheesy stuff out there. If you're going to do this, like we talk about the editing process and getting editors because you just want a clean book when you put it out there. Get whatever you're going to make out of this Kickstarter. Get it really nice and clean. Or there's another tactic to this, go the complete opposite. And it's a marketing technique that you're using. Be as humdrum about it as you can. Be you, be in the cheesiest camera shot that you can get with the worst camera quality that you get. Hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm just a dude on the street, and I'm really, really wanting to put this out there because I think that this would just be the coolest if you guys would really buy into this with me. And it's got to be so hammed up or be that genuine because there's those guys get a ton of money, those guys that are genuinely out of their element, have no idea, but they've come up with a great idea. And they're like, I think that this is really cool. And I think that if you back this, we could make something really cool. And people are like, oh, look at this guy. What a genuine soul. Let's back him like crazy. So that is, it is a tactic. You can't fake it though. So that has to be sincerely who you are to just go, hey, you know,
And
out there
Jeremy,
like,
so
or else make it real clean.
and Jeremy, so the thing that
Yeah.
I loved about your video,
Mm,
you're right, it was unique. The video was you sitting on the steps of the elementary school where you went to school
correct.
when you first started
When I
writing.
created where I created the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that to me was like the most genuine story
Yep.
I had heard about a book or about a game,
Yep.
especially a game book. And that was so real. Now, also it was unique. And for me, it had even the added thing of knowing a lot of the stuff you've gone through with moving back to Sacramento, and you had moved away, lived in Houston and all of that. And now you're back, and there was this not movie, but video of you on the steps. And it was so emotional for me.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I mean, I love that about any project when I can just see the person's story that's
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah. And connecting with creators is huge on Kickstarter. Connecting with teams of creators is huge. So if you have other people that have done stuff and they want to comment, if you're making the video like that, where you're not just making a graphic, but I'm telling you, those graphic videos for some reason blow up Kickstarter. People just think you're the bee's knees if you've got some nifty After Effects ability. Great. And though connecting with your audience is always a really good thing to do. Acknowledge that so I'm David Balog, and you don't know me from Adam. However, at a time in my life, I loved playing D&D, and we played this game, and in this certain thing, I came up with a storyline, and the storyline that I came up with expanded, and I ended up writing a book about it. And I just want to tell you a little bit about it, and then go into it, right? where this stuff comes from, sorry, David, that I'm using you so much as the example, and forgive me for not using other examples.
No,
But you guys, I know
like
you're always
like
thinking,
great ideas.
just apply it with your own story and novel in your head. It's the same thing, right? So whatever it is, when I was doing this at this point in my life, or especially even as an author, it's been a dream for me for a long time, but this is the way my life path took, and I've chosen at this point in my life that being an author is really who I am and really what I'm trying to accomplish in life. So I would like to put this out there, and here's why I think it would be great. Here's why I think it would be great for you to see. Here's what I think. I think when you read this, you're going to have this experience. Give them the experience that they're going to have from reading the book. Tell them the experience that they're going to have. You know why we love, why Doritos are crispy, crunchy, and salty and good? Because they actually are, yes. And because we get told that they are. So I already have an expectation before I bite on that stupid chip that it's going to taste a certain way and I'm going to have a certain experience that, because I just bought into a Doritos, because that's what they told me. So tell them the experience. You are going to fall in love with this character. This character, you're going to feel his journey, by the end of his journey, and the man that he becomes is going to see yourself in a whole new light. Oh gosh, I got to read this thing. I got to find out what this whole new light is that I'm going to find myself in. You've already given them the experience. These are general marketing tactics, but use them in your Kickstarter. Here's the thing about Kickstarter. Kickstarter is based on awards. So awards are how you give back to the people that are giving something to you. So plan your awards out well. And here's some suggestions for doing that. Give them something that is unique to your book that they're not going to be able to get anywhere outside of the Kickstarter. I'll say that again. Give them something unique to your book that they're not going to be able to get anywhere out of Kickstarter. And those are the stuff that you can get a little higher money for. Kickstarter exclusive. Kickstarter exclusive maybe includes a signed copy of the book, right? Those are going to be a little bit more if you didn't do pre-sales, because you might have done your pre-sales differently. Oh, I want to be clear about this since I mentioned pre-sales. Pre-sales are not part of Kickstarter. Pre-sales you do apart from Kickstarter. Pre-sales are done on their own, and do your pre-sales before you do your Kickstarter. At least I did, and I think it works really well. Do your pre-sales, get the stuff out there. You're getting general attention, and you're starting the promo of, we're going to kickstart this book, but here's the pre-sales, and make something really special about the pre-sales. Like, these are one of a kind. You cannot get them anywhere else. They're signed, numbered copies of the book. They're going to have an extra epilogue. Whatever you do for these pre-sale copies, make them super exclusive, and then people are going to die. And then you're telling them while they're buying the pre-sales, you're going, and we're going to be doing a Kickstarter for the book. So wait for the Kickstarter. Then you have them on your list because they bought the book for you, and you're telling them, we're going to have a Kickstarter. We're going to have, bam, then the Kickstarter hits. They all know about it. You're going to have a big event. Sandy's going to put on a big event like we did. We put on a big old event, didn't we, Sandy? We had a bunch of people on that thing. And you have a big event, and you're going to say, hey, now the Kickstarter's open. Let's do this thing. And most of your funding, if you hit it this way, most of my funding, we were funded in 12 hours, less than 12 hours, right, Sandy? Was right from the beginning. Funding trickled in after that because I continued to do the marketing. But if you market this well, the majority of your funding is going to come in those first 24 hours. And that alone is going to be awesome because you're going to say, we're funded. Hey, what you also want to have is awesome stretch goals. What I learned is that if the stretch goals are really part of what you actually want to do, then don't make them stretch goals because sometimes those stretch goals are not going to be met. So I wish that I had done, for example, I did the soundtrack and the ASL edition as stretch goals. I wish I would have just put the soundtrack as part of the whole thing and just gotten it funded that way, because I would have easily gotten it funded and then made the ASL edition maybe part of the stretch goals, or not at all. The stretch goals probably should have included a little bit more fun stuff, a little bit more extra stuff that they could have gotten out of, hey, if we meet this, then we're going to add an extra, in my case, we're going to add an extra class. If you get the stretch goals, okay, if we meet this, I'm going to go ahead and make a I'm going to use that money to make a prequel, a small prequel to the book, right? and publish it out there for those of you guys if we were able to hit that. Oh yeah, well I want to know the backstory of this child necromancer. I want to know what happened to him when he was growing up. Yeah, let's fund it up to that. Okay, great. Now I'm going to write this other little mini book that's this prologue to Necromancer's Lament. So
Jeremy, I don't know if you saw that Roxanne asked you a question.
forgive me, I'm going to jump up on these questions here real quick. So award wise, make sure that these are the big awards, your bigger awards, meaning the bigger money, make sure that it's unique to Kickstarter. If you have things like bookmarks, if you have things like pins, if you have things like stickers, who loves stickers, Fern? Stickers, if you got stuff like that that are general and you're going to give those out at conventions and you're going to give those out at book signings and you're going to do things like that, yeah, sure, include those things. But make sure that there's something exclusive to Kickstarter, and those exclusive to Kickstarter things bump up that award, right? You get a little bit more money for those things you can't get anywhere but Kickstarter. Let's see. Same thing with having the right pitch. Yes, exactly. True that the documents and explanation is very good. Actually, yes. Jeremy, I wanted to use the book trailer rather than a speaking video. Is that about it? No, it's not. The book, if you already have a book trailer, then great, you're set. Then the book trailer may be the thing, because maybe the book trailer is not doing so great on YouTube, but once you get it on Kickstarter and you're promoting it as a Kickstarter, well, now I want to go see this. I want to go check this out. People on Kickstarter that are looking, I'm going to say one, I'm going to cross my fingers, but people that are looking for something like this on Kickstarter and they find it, they're going to want to watch the video, right? The thing about the video is it's not connected anywhere outside of Kickstarter. It's actually uploaded directly to Kickstarter. So you're not getting views anywhere else. It's just the video on Kickstarter. You can have the video on YouTube. It's permitted. You can have it, but it's going to get its own views, and you can promo it by and make sure that the link to the Kickstarter is in the description. But also make sure, this is something I learned too, make sure to have your tag words, because they do not have tags in Kickstarter. This is something I think is a really poor aspect of Kickstarter. There is no way to tag your Kickstarter with tag words or keywords. So make sure that your title has because that's how the keywords work, is it's in the title. So make sure book, novel, fantasy, whatever your genre is, whatever the type of book, make sure that that's in the actual title. I said I had Planet Bound, a sci-fi fantasy tabletop role-playing game, as the title. Tabletop role-playing game is not what gamers search for. They look for TTRPG is the acronym, and so they're looking for TTRPG, and my Kickstarter is not coming up. But all the ones that have TTRPG in their title are all coming up. And so I learned for me, I went to Kickstarter and I was like, and you can't change it once it's out there, by the way. You can change your content, like the content of the description, but once that video is done and once the title is decided, there is no changing it. Once you hit it and they approve it, it's done. So they did add the keyword for me. So maybe you can ask if there's something that you want to add. You can ask support. They just happened to add it for me because I cried a little bit, and they added TTRPG for me. So they can do things on the back end. But just in general, know that if you want them to be searching for anything specific, put it in the title of your Kickstarter. Other things to know is, like I said, don't make stretch goals something that that make stretch goals things that if you get it, great. If not, it doesn't. If it's the stretch goal is something you really want to be a part of it, include it in the Kickstarter. If you don't think that you can get the funding for that stretch goal, then make it something completely separate from this Kickstarter. Make it its own thing. I'll do, for example, for book 2, the soundtrack will be just part of it. It won't be a conversation of a stretch goal. It'll just be part of it. For book 3, we'll have gotten so much attention by then. I'll put the ASL edition as part of it, because then all 3 books are out. Now we're going to produce the ASL edition, and by that time I will have played the ASL edition. Make sure to have in your mind stuff that you're doing too. That's something I didn't always consider. I had stuff in this because I knew stuff was coming later on in January, for example, that we're going to have a gaming convention online, and I'm going to be running a game in ASL. Running a full Planet Bound game in ASL, but that's in January. That's about the time for the Kickstarter for book 3. So the fact that I'm talking about it now and no deaf people have even watched the game be played was hit or miss. And so it was a pretty big miss for me because I didn't even get close to that funding, because that's big funding to have it produced in ASL. So just know what you're funding. And for you guys that are producing novels, it's going to be your publishing costs, your editing costs, whatever the normal cost, your illustration for the book cover, those costs. And it can be to recoup those costs, by the way. So if you've already had your illustration done, or the audiobook, somebody mentioned the audiobook. If you've already had some of this done, use the Kickstarter to recoup some of that money. If you've already paid for it, that's not needed to be known by the people that you're talking about. Just say, hey, this is the stuff that it's going to, because you do have to list the stuff that you're going to use it for. So as you're listing the stuff that it's going to be used for, mention those things, but it can be, you can say to recoup money for, or don't even say that. Just say it's being used for the illustrations, and then just know that you're putting it back in your pocket for the money that you spent on the illustration that you've already done. Okay, so by the time your Kickstarter is done, here's things to know about when the Kickstarter is done, especially in COVID land, because it's even slower. So Kickstarter is done, you're fully funded. Yay! Give me my money. Nope, that's not how it works. So at the time that the Kickstarter finishes is when they take the money. When they take the money out of the people's accounts that. Who am I echoing off of? Is it you, Sandy? You're the only one not on mute. Is it you, Sandy? No, I'm messing with you. So they take the money out of everybody's accounts right when the Kickstarter, whatever the time is that the Kickstarter ends, everybody's money gets taken out. Well, some people may have forgotten that they put in money for your Kickstarter, and they may not have the funds available at the time, so it bounces. So Kickstarter takes 2 weeks is what they do. There's a bounced pledges happen all the time. Well, I want to read Tarina's here in a second. I'm just bringing it up. So when bounced pledges happen, so what? Yeah, it happens. Kickstarter will take care of that. Kickstarter will keep going back to those people and try to get them to finish out their pledges. Some of them still may not. It does not matter to Kickstarter, even if there's so many bounces that it's below your funding now, you still get all the money because you made it above your funding in the initial thing. They're not going to say, no, now you don't get your money. If you made your funding and it bounced to the point where it's below your funding, they're still going to give you all the funding that did come through. But it is going to take them, supposed to take 2 weeks. In COVID land, it took about 3 weeks before that money finally came in, just so you know. And it may be, in my case, it was about $1,000 less than the actual full funding, which is a lot of money, for the amount that I actually got. So, just know that. Also know, this is what's really important to know for novels. Novels, people are going to want that book right away. For games, it works the same way. Not for board games, but when you're talking about a role-playing game, they want that right away. Make sure that at least 80% of your novel, because you're all doing novels, is done before you kickstart. Don't be kickstarting it before you have written that first word. That is not going to fly. These people do not want to be waiting 6 months to a year before they get their book.
Oh, Jeremy, so even if it's done though, it's going to take a couple of weeks.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Even if it's completely done, it's going to take, and they know that. So you make sure that you have the proper expectations. But I would say, so for me, I made sure, so what I told them is that the expectation is it would be out the following month from the time that the money came in. Well, the money came in mid October and towards the end of October. So it's going to come sometime in November. But I gave myself, in the leeway in the writing there, I gave myself a 2-month time period. So I would not do, for a novel, I would not do more than 2 months. So make sure that you're done enough to where whatever you need to get done after the funding comes in can be done within 2 months. Because people are really not going to want to wait that long for a novel or a book game type of thing. For a board game, they'll wait because they know you got to craft pieces and there's just other things that have to happen. Sculptors, artists have to be hired for certain things. They're willing to wait. For a gadget, they're willing to wait. For a book, they're not so willing to wait. And that'll be, if you say on there, hey, it's going to come out next year, they're less likely to put money into it. They're going to go, yeah, I'll wait till the book comes out. But if they know it's coming in within a couple of months, yeah, sure, I'll put the money in. So I would just say, if you're talking about a role-playing game, and in your case is novels, make sure that you're pretty much done. That you're at least 80% done. I was about 90% done before I did the Kickstarter. Okay, sounds great to me. Oh, what did you say? I'd like to have a jingle as a personal brand for my literary projects with the funding for a jingle in the case. Be a stretch goal. Sure. Yeah, you can make it a stretch goal, or you can just make it. I would just fold that in, because people, the stretch goals. What I really learned about the stretch goals are a thing that people want to get if they meet that. The jingle is not really something they get, but that's something cool for you to be able to do. So just make the jingle part of the actual thing. This is one of the things that we're going to have along with it. A soundtrack in my case. We're going to have it along with it. For a role-playing game, they don't really see the benefit because not role-playing games have not done this historically. Jingles may have not been a thing historically. So especially if there's no precedent for it, I wouldn't make it a stretch goal.
Okay.
The stretch goals are something that they want to have tangible in their hands. Ooh, a prequel, a little mini novel. Oh, cool. Or an epilogue mini novel. Something additional to, or we're gonna make some sort of, if I don't know, maybe the necromancer has a specific wand. If we get this much funding, we're actually going to make the wands. And the people who pledged at this level, you're going to get a wand along with the book. Oh, holy smokes. Yay. So if they get something tangible from the stretch goal, they're more likely to push for it.
Okay.
You guys are awesome. I would love all the Kickstarters out there. For, you know what, even for, I was thinking about this, Athena and James, even for small press, if you guys are looking for funding for the small press itself, what makes your small press unique? What's the hook? And maybe you can play that up to go, hey, so we know that there are big publishers out there. We know that there are the 5 big publishers and they rule the roost. But when we created this with this small press company, we did it with the idea that there were authors out there that had voices and stories that we felt needed to be heard. So we put together this small press. It's been successful, and these are the things that success. We want to take it to the next level. The next level looks like this. So we're looking to you guys to support, right? And then you set a goal for that, and you can use crowdfunding. We need to talk about Kickstarter to fund book 2. Yes, Gaga, yes. I mean, it's not about, it's bad. Sometimes you can do, so there's other things too. There after the Kickstarter, there's other services. One's called Backer, I think it is. So you can use other services like Backer to engage the people who have backed you to get additional funding. So there's other ways to get additional funding even after you met your goal. Maybe you didn't expect that there was going to be some additional costs associated with certain things. Oh shoot, there's services like Backer that are really great that use the information that you got from Kickstarter to be able to put out there. Plus your Kickstarter, that all those people that pledges, that's all now on your list, right? That they go into your funnel for whatever, everything. So it really is more than anything. People do not make even the people that get millions do not make millions off of Kickstarter. There's people that have gotten millions off of Kickstarter and they get this. Kickstarter takes their portion. They got to pay for all the materials of their thing, especially if they're creating some sort of gadget stuff. By the time it all will, then Uncle Sam takes their portion of things because you just got a chunk of money. All whittled down to this. So really the point of Kickstarter is to build a community around the thing that you're doing. And it's a really great tool for that. What else do we need to know, Sandy? Am I missing anything?
Can I ask a
Actually,
question?
who started? Was that you, Julie?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So give us an idea of what someone might put in the pot. Are we talking about $5 they're putting in?
Sometimes they can put a buck in there. Some people do things like this. Some people do, hey, we're going to give you so as an author, if you fund at this level or above, we're going to acknowledge you in the book. We're going to have a list of these pledgers are going to be acknowledged in the book. But even the dollar pledgers, people can pledge whatever they want. They're not going to get an award until they pledge at a level that you've set for an award. So you're going to set all the awards and what they're going to get. So they have to pledge at those levels to get those things. But they can. Anybody can put in a buck, $5. Some people do.
So let's say someone pledges $100
Mhm.
and there's an award for that. And
Yep.
then they don't, their pledge bounces.
Yep.
Then
They
you,
don't get the award.
you just don't give them the award.
Nope, they don't get the award. Some people, though, what's interesting that you mentioned this, Julie, I'll say this. There's a lot of people that will pledge without an award. There's people that pledged to mine 100, 200 bucks here and there, $5, $10 that they didn't pledge for an award. They just, you can pledge, and I do it all the time on Kickstarter, pledge because you believe in this project. Okay, I'll just give money to this project because I don't need the thing. I don't think that I would use the thing, but I think it's a cool thing. I think other people would use it. Or I support that person. Hey, yeah, I'll give them $50, but I don't need an award. So there's a lot of money that you'll get without awards.
When I was looking into Kickstarter way back when I started the publishing company, one of the things they did was they said that people were creating characters with somebody's name who pledged. So if you pledge, you will become a character in the book.
Yes. So yeah, that's a great one, James. So I did this where, okay, if you pledged at certain levels and only one person did, they pledged at that level where they get to create their whatever character they get to create out of the game will be in a future book of Planetbound. That character will appear in a future book of Planetbound. Other people got to pledge as, so if you have an illustrator that has done your a book cover, maybe you have them on par to also. So if we get pledges at this number, they get to create a character from the world, and we'll draw that character for them, and it could be their own imagined character from the world, whether we use it or not. People love things like, unique art, individualized gifts. People really love stuff like that, and you can get high pledges off of stuff like that. Making things associated. So if in your book you have this magic box and it has this you describe it in this very specific way. It's this wood and it's carved in this tree that it's intertwined. Have somebody make a mock-up of this thing and say, hey, if we fund at this, people that back at this level, it is a stretch goal, you'll get these handmade items from in the game. Items from in the book. Items from in the book. People love stuff like that. How many people walk around with Hermione's wand because that was their favorite character, and Hermione's wand is the bee's knees for them. So yeah, say if there's a unique thing about your book, a unique item in the book, have it made in real life, and then say, hey, if we end up getting this goal, people that backed at this level, you get this associated with it.
So Jeremy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. One of the
So I was
things
just reading.
One of the things I was actually thinking of as far as an award or a giveaway would be, and I don't know if this sounds kind of cheesy, but going with the idea, because one of the spaces I want to write in is Christian fiction.
Okay.
But the goal would be to provide a source of hope or a message of hope and redemption and things of that nature. Creating
Andy, you're killing us every time you're on.
a specialized crown. Mainly, the audience is going to be female primarily.
Okay.
But a crown that says King's Kid or walking in true identity, or
Absolutely.
like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are great items to use for it because it's totally associated with the book. It's associated with your target market, right?
Right.
They're gonna. Oh my gosh. Oh, they're probably not gonna wear it necessarily, but they'll have it put up somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Some of them maybe they will wear it. Who knows?
Maybe.
Exactly. So yeah, things like that are great. Things that go on other things like that go on top of watches, things that go on glasses hooked to the side, something, that's unique from the book. And it becomes a marketing tool for you too, especially if it's something that they can wear, wearable things. What's that? That's cool. Necklaces that are little symbol pendants of your stuff, earrings. What's that? What's that from? Oh, I got it from Kickstarter. This book. It's a real great book. Read it. Oh, I got to check the book out. It just becomes a way for people to talk about your book.
Jeremy, how did you do with t-shirt sales Because I know what was one of your award.
It was one of my awards. The total for the item sales was about, I think the total for that was about 55 of the backers got
That's
got-
not bad.
items. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chose to back at items. Doing things, so I chose to do it around my birthday. So I did the birthday bundle thing, and it happened to be that my son's birthday and my father's birthday fell within the Kickstarter. So I had the birthday bundle at the beginning because it was my birthday, it was only available that day. Then I said, hey, we're opening up the birthday bundle again on this day because it's my son's birthday. Hey, we're opening up the birthday bundle again on this day because it's my dad's birthday. And then I got people, oh, great, the birthday bundle's open again, and pledged at the birthday bundle. So find fun things like that, especially at the very beginning. Hey, everybody who pledges us within the first 24 hours gets it at this price. See, do a reduced price for the first 24 hours. Oh crap, I got to get in that first 24 hours. Do things at the beginning to get more pledges in that beginning. Because if you have a strong beginning, that gives you a marketing tool that gets a lot of attention, meaning you get more traffic to that part of it on Kickstarter. If it gets enough, Kickstarter will actually premiere it. So if it gets a huge amount of funding in that first 4 to 24 hours, Kickstarter will put it on the front of their thing and say, hey, this is getting a lot of attention. Once you're on the front of Kickstarter, it's great because people that just go to the website, they have a lot of criteria for that. It's really hit or miss, and they get to kind of do it on their own ball game. If you have associated names, like for example, if you're getting published by Athena and James or another small press, make sure that their names are on there, so that they, oh man, this is legit. Yeah, this is being produced by a publishing company. So fulfillment, meaning getting the book out there by, and then the publishing company's name. Athena, your guys' publishing company name is not coming to me. Help me.
Black Hills.
Wait, what?
Rock Hill.
Rock Hill. So yes, Rock Hill Publishing, Inklings, Texas Sisters, whatever it is that you're make sure that that's on there, that people know that you're going to be fulfilled through something that is not just you're making stuff up. So that's always
Okay,
good to
so let
have
me
that.
ask you this, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Since I am the publisher, can I
Yeah.
run the Kickstarter for somebody else's book and say published by Rock Hill?
Yeah,
Or
you
does
can.
that
Why not?
sound, or does that sound kind of underhanded?
No, I don't.
So let's say we've
I
been
mean, people
picking
can
on
see it
David.
that way, but
Yeah.
people are going to see things the way they see things. I don't think it's no. That's fine.
Okay.
Especially if
James.
you have the wherewithal to run a successful Kickstarter, if you get really good at it, James, that becomes part of your deal as a publisher. Like, we're going to run a really amazing Kickstarter for you. That's part of coming on board with us. And then we're going to get funding for your book this way. Why not? I think that's a great
It goes
idea.
to extra marketing for them. One of the things that makes a differentiation with that, James, is it makes you sound like you're a big publishing house when you said it.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I was going to do the Kickstarter for myself a long time ago, but then when I was looking at all the different things I had to do, I was like, I think I'll just write the book and publish it.
And that might be so. Kickstarter, I mean, crowdfunding, that may not be the thing to do, but it really is not as hard as you think. It's not as complicated as you think. The onus is on you to do the marketing for it, though. Just like being an indie publisher, the
Yeah,
onus
see,
is on you. You're a
that's the
business
thing,
person.
yeah.
You've got to get this out there. Now, there's forums. Make sure to have your forum. I had my marketing plan laid out of who all to contact, all the way down to individual contacts. Be careful, because you can't do a bunch of individual contacts like on Messenger. They'll stop you after a while because you're sending the same thing to a bunch of people. They'll go, stop it. Or on Instagram, same thing. So just switch it up. You just got to learn to play the game. So have several different, so that you're not saying the same thing over and over again. Just say the same thing in different ways, so that Facebook or Instagram or those other platforms don't catch on to you. If you're doing individual targeting like that to friends, or if you know big groups, put them in those big groups. Put them in big author groups. Put them in big book groups. Put them in book reader books. Put them out there in critique groups that you may belong to. Hey, I'm kickstarting my book. Everybody check it out. You know, find, you know, your communities, you know, the people that are going to go, oh yeah, look at this. This is going to be a thing. Put it out there I mean, I know for you guys, this is kind of an easy thing. Make a little flyer. And I know COVID's a thing right now, but think of it outside of COVID. Go to local bookstores, especially indie bookstores, not the big guys, but the indie bookstores. Hey man, I'm kickstarting my book. I can't wait to publish it. I can't wait to have it on your shelf here. Can I put this up? Yeah, sure. Put it up. Find those people that are going to become your community. And think in terms of your community, meaning think in terms of your genre. Red, you're not going to go after fantasy readers. You're going to go after the people that are looking to fix themselves or fix something, right? You're going to look, find, and it's going to be specific because you've done some specific things. You've done things on health, but you've done other things too, right? So whatever your book is targeted to, you're going to have to find that target market to say, and the biggest, remember always, it applies really easily to Red, but it applies to all of us. The audience, meaning the customer, has a problem. Remember I did the hero's journey? This is the whole story. The customer has a problem and you have the medicine. What's the problem and how is your book the medicine? And find those people and go, you know how when you, and name their problem? Yeah, screw that in my life. Well, guess what? This book is the medicine to that, whatever that problem is. So for Tarina, that's a great example. You know how when you're feeling just spiritually depleted and you just, that next level is not coming to you and you feel like your relationship with God is at the suffering point? God, yes, I know that feeling. Well, this is why I chose to write this book. And what this book is going to do is going to bring a slant in your relationship to the Lord that maybe you didn't consider before. Oh, okay, then let me take a look at this. If it's the publishers, you're going to do the same thing. If it's a fantasy, you're talking about, how sometimes the real world is just driving you insane, and you just wish you could go off to a far off magical fairy tale and just live your life as a fairy or a wizard or an apprentice. This book is to talk about one of the best escapes that I've ever experienced. I chose to write this because it was something that was cool in my life. Then here you go, right?
You made me think of something. You can actually present it in such a way. You're standing on the edge of a cliff and there's a canyon in between. So the people are on the left-hand side or right, doesn't matter. And this is a bad place like hell. And they need to get to heaven, which is on the other side. And your product is the bridge that's going to take them over to the other side.
Exactly.
So that is what you have to do. You have to sell it in such a way that you reach the people at exactly the place that they need your product. And your product is a book or whatever it is. I mean, we are all writers. So our product is the book. Yeah. So.
And really, and so if it is a book and you're going, gosh, I don't have mine is, well, what is the thing that the challenge that is the reason you made the book? So for example, if it is a fantasy novel, okay, great. You know how when you're reading fantasy and you just, they're writing vapid characters that you just don't even really care about, and you're just trying to get to the end of the book because you just want to find out what happens. That's why I wrote characters that really speak to this, whatever this is. And give them whatever their problem, and the thing that that your audience is going to go, yeah, I hate that. You get that thing? That's awful. Yeah, I hate when books do that. You know how when you're reading a how-to book and they don't have it laid out step by step, they're just dumping a bunch of information at you at once. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. That's why I outline my how-to books in layouts that give you step-by-step instructions, formatted in a way that is color coded to make it, whatever it is that whatever your solution to the thing is that you've presented as their problem.
So can I ask another question?
I'm sorry, who was speaking?
Oh, we're over time. Go ahead. Yes, okay. Ask what we can do. One more question.
I wanted to ask the question. I don't have any. I guess I have to go on Kickstarter and do some research, but
okay.
I don't have any sense of the scale of this. how much would be an average ask for, let's say, a book?
Do your research on it, but an average ask for a book is somewhere around $5 grand. Right around there. And
However, so I'm on Kickstarter now, just scrolling through some of the publishing projects. And the first thing I came across was Brandon Sanderson.
yep, Brandon Sanderson. He did a huge one just recently. Huge.
So I know about him from Inklings. Several of the Inklings publishers love Brandon Sanderson.
Well, he finished Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, so.
Absolutely, yes, and that's how he got his start. But I'm looking.
Well, he got his start in Conan, but yeah.
He got his start where?
He got his start in Conan. He used to write Conan novels. Conan the Barbarian.
Okay. I never heard of him before the Wheel of Time, and he finished.
No. He was. His name wasn't huge till the Wheel of Time.
So he is the largest ever on
An
Kickstarter.
author.
As far as an author, as far as a project, his goal was $250,000. He met that goal in 3 minutes. He raised totally $6,788,000, and he had 29,000 backers. So we're not all going to be there. We're not all Brandon Sanderson. We are not all known like him. However, it doesn't mean you can't be. Remember that mindset.
And I just want, so I'll say, one thing I'll say about that is if you know anybody of some sort of status, use it. Use it. Go to them, say, hey, I'm going to do a Kickstarter. Do you mind would you plug the Kickstarter, or can I put your name in here, reference you as somebody who, yeah, absolutely. That is huge. The guys that did one of the most successful game Kickstarters, Exploding Cats, the guys who came up with the game, fantastic game, brilliant mechanics. They were thinking about kickstarting it. They weren't sure if they were going to, but it had such cool, so they just started playing it with people. Well, the guy from the Oatmeal, which is a huge comic, online comic that does right. Of course, everybody loves the game. These guys came up with the concept of the game. It was called something else. It was a different dynamic, meaning it didn't have anything to do with cats. So the guy from the Oatmeal goes, you know what? I'll do this with you. I'll put my name on it. We'll kickstart it. Here's what we're going to do, though. Number one, I get to do all the art for it. Number two, we're going to change it from whatever the monkey idea was for it. We're going to change it to Exploding Cats. So it's the same concept. We just get to blow up cats. And we're going to market it in the Oatmeal style of doing things. So they got somebody who was big, great illustrator, great writer. He did all the cards. He did all the illustrations for the game. And they did it. They got it was an insane amount of money, millions. I think that they're still the number one of all time. Something like 60 million. It was incredible.
Wow. So we could go on and on with all these stories. What I want you to do is, if you have other questions for Jeremy, write them down, and Jeremy can go over them on Friday if you're there, or we'll get all the questions to you. But thank you very much. Very enlightening. So I can't wait to have some Kickstarters here that I get to help with. I think that sounds fun, and I had a great time with yours, Jeremy.
Yeah, and the launches are. I know a lot of you are on my launch. Do it up, especially use it to tell your story. That's what I did. I had all these people from the history of Planet Bound all in there going, this person played this role, and then this person played this role, this person played this role. This is how big and how amazing this thing is, and you all have that with your particular thing. So just bring it all there.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So thank you all for staying here and asking the questions. I think this was great information, Rox. Thanks for even bringing that idea to me. I know, right? I realized if you were interested, so would other authors be interested. So we can talk more about this on Friday if you want. But Jeremy, thank you very much.
Of course.
And I will see you
guys later.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
week.